Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host Jum. Today we wrap up our early Halloween lineup with Happy Death Day, the other 2017 horror movie. We already did it, so that's the other choice. And by no means is it a lesser choice because I would say they did Groundhog Day a pretty interesting reboot or remake. Remake altogether because I don't recognize any of the characters, but I like them.
Yeah, I fairly enjoyed this movie. In my opinion, I wasn't like stoked about it when I saw it on as a trailer. I was like, I'm not paying my money for this. You know, I wish I did.
Same.
I wish I did. Like, I wish I brought like a friend along, or we watched it together because it is a good time.
Yeah, but yeah. It's a very interesting premise. Like you, I saw the trailer. I was like, no, thank you. And then I heard pretty good things about it, and I was like, maybe I should take back the no, thank you. Honestly,
Yeah.
I watched this during lockdown because I was like, there's nothing else to do. I'm running out of things to watch. What's this movie? Oh, it's the Groundhog Day remake. All right, I'll watch this. I came out of being like, that was pretty good. Honestly.
Yeah. Do we just get into the movie?
I guess so. There's not much else to say. But yeah, our main character 3, played by Jessica Roth. Sorry for mispronouncing your last name, but for her first movie, she did pretty well. Like, she did a pretty good job of being a completely unlikable character at the beginning, to be honest.
Because we already know the premise, right? We know that somebody is gonna kill her, and once he kills her, the day restarts until she finds that killer.
Yeah.
And that is the whole premise.
Yeah.
And we're like, alright, cool. Right off the bat, you're gonna be like, first day, before she even gets killed, let's try to see who wants to kill her. And then, like, getting introduced to the character, I was like, a lot of people kind of want to kill her, I think.
This is not going to be a hard thing to do. I mean, this is going to be hard because there are like 10 suspects at the beginning. From like,
yeah,
the guy, what's his name? Kurt?
Oh, yeah,
Carter. Yeah, Carter,
Yeah.
of like, Carter, his roommate, the people she comes across on the hallways,
yeah,
Tim, her roommate, the head of her, what do you call that? Fraternity? Sorority.
sorority, her boy toy of a professor.
Yeah, his fucking
wife.
wife.
Yeah. What else? The father. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
You know
and
what?
a serial killer that was mentioned on the news.
Yeah, and honestly, the serial killer is like the least because you're like, because he's like, you have nothing to do with this character at all. You don't even know her. You have no reason to hate her. So you're like,
Yeah.
suspect number 20 of like this whole list.
But still, though, he is a factor. So
Yeah.
I was like, maybe
She's just unlucky.
wrong place, wrong
Yeah.
time. But then you would think to yourself, that is stupid.
Yeah, because
Like, that is a stupid premise.
yeah, and like there are certain things that you notice of like I hope this character kind of grows in the beginning because Jesus Christ, I'm kind of rooting for the killer at like the beginning. Like, please just make her a killer already.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
kind of-
She is the character of like, she is so unlikable. She is the cannon fodder that dies. That shows the main character, oh shit, there's danger.
Yeah, she would normally be like kind of father of the other character, being like, you know what, I'm gonna avoid that route. I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah. Or
she is the main character. And like at the beginning, when you see the killer, you're like, that mask isn't really doing it for me for like horror. But like every time you see it like run up to her or like chase her, like that is terrifying. Like this baby face just having a knife. Like you're the new, what's his name? You're the new guy from Scream. Ghostface almost.
yeah.
Again, it's just a guy with a knife, and you're like, how can that be scary? And then he starts running. You're like, you are terrifying. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just like anyone with a knife and like pretty much any mask. Yeah, it would freak me the fuck out. But yeah, the costume itself isn't really doing much for me. Like, it's not gonna be a standout.
Yeah.
But I love the premise though. Again, it's Groundhog Day, but it's just that this girl just happens to be in the midst of a serial killing.
Yeah. And the first time she's like, that was weird. I think I'm experiencing deja vu. And then she makes it all the way to a party, and she makes it to a party where this guy is trying to hit it off with her. And you're like, can you please stop?
Welcome to the pleasure zone. He just starts like raving to him like by himself. I'm like, Really, you could have put on like some nice jazz or some shit, like Daniel Caesar at least.
No, even she's like, yeah, I'm over this. Goodbye. But by the time she turns, the guy already got like stabbed. I love the scene when like the music's still ongoing, but the guy is like being
He
stabbed.
was like, "Oh God!" Ah!
And you're like, I don't think those are any of the moves he planned for tonight. Jesus Christ. And then, like, the worst part, like, the part that made me go, like, oh God, was when the guy opens the door and he clearly sees this guy forcing himself on her to kill her. The guy's like, all
Yeah, and
right.
he's like, "Woo!" And then he like falls off. I'm like,
You're like, all right, fucking asshole. And
Yeah.
then she's like, you asshole. Ah, fuck.
yeah.
And
And for
like,
sure, those are gruesome deaths. Thank God I didn't see them.
yeah, I
But,
think
yeah.
this movie has a rating of like PG. Like that's why I don't really hear the F bomb or like of cursing. You just or like a lot of gore. You just see like the knife and then it going down and the aftermath. You're like, for a movie that's PG, usually PG movies that are like horror are usually suffer, or like any movie that's supposed to be R-rated S that's PG suffer. Like Venom. Like Venom's supposed to be like this almost horror-esque villain, and then he's like watered down to what we see in the 2018 and the Carnage movie, where like, oh, it's clearly trying to be R-rated, but it can't be because of these barriers. Same with Morbius, but like with Happy Death Day, they do it so creatively, and you're like, in my mind, I was like, "Ew, that's how Venom's supposed to be. Why can't he kill like that?" It's so effective.
That's why I like. Well, the thing that I like about this movie is that you're not there for the gore, you're not there for the kills, because she's the only one who's getting killed here. Besides some characters on the side.
Yeah,
But yeah, she is the only one who's getting killed,
yeah,
and the deaths are creatively done.
yeah,
But we're not focusing on the deaths. We're not seeing the slasher villain have a kill count like with Halloween,
Scream.
Predator, Alien. It's not that kind of movie. It's her living the horrors every day until she finds who the guy is trying to kill her.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
every reset, she gets more developed, and you're like, kind of starting to like this character a lot. And I'm
Yeah.
at this point, like I think it was the third or fourth time when she realizes that this this guy I'm starting to have feelings for. And you're like, for Carter. And you're
Yeah.
like, huh. I think it's the moment he's like, I didn't take advantage of you. I was just worried you would choke on your own vomit like Janis Joplin. She's like, I kind of like Janis Joplin too. You're like,
Yeah.
huh.
And like she I mean, yeah, it's kind of nice to hear that like this guy, you thought that they did sleep together
Yeah.
and she was just too drunk to remember it, but clearly the guy is a decent human fucking being.
Yeah.
And was like, nah, I ain't gonna take advantage of a drunk girl. I slept on the couch.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Even though his roommate is like, hey, and he's like, you fucking dickhead. He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Which I get it, because like now we have that misconception that he actually slept with her.
No, he's just like, I guess you said a decent human being. And like, he's the only one who's like, yeah, that's it, I do believe you. So here's what you're gonna do. Make a list, and like, you see her go down the list. Like, at one point, you think it's the head of her sorority, and she's like, you fucking bitch. Start wrestling on the side of the road. I was like, I think that's a recipe for one of you to die. Stop it.
I love that. She was like, you son of a bitch. She's just ground and pounding the sorority sister. Where clearly she was a very douchey character.
Yeah.
There are a lot of douchey characters here.
Yeah.
And then you see the stalker that she has, and she finds out, he's actually gay. And I'm like, okay, it's not. And she turns around, the killer's there.
He's just like, hey, what's up? Stab. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, also checks on the wife of like, I should check on that situation because she might be killing me and the doctor too, and we can't have both.
No, I just found it so fucking funny. she was like, nah, it ain't her. And she's like, damn it. And she pulls up her goggles, and then she gets strangled into the fountain.
You also find
I'm very surprised with this killer, though. Like, this killer has, like, really good stalking skills.
right? It's like a master assassin, and then you find out, unfortunately, like every time she gets back she gets weaker because like she faints at one point, and then at the hospital, the doctor's like, you have signs of like massive trauma. Like you should be dead by now. Trauma. Like I don't get your deal. Why do you have like scar tissue that suggests you've been stabbed over and over again in your chest? It's a mystery, and you're not dead again. And you're like, oh, now there are stakes of like, oh, she can't just be willy nilly like, I guess I'll just wake up the next day. No, she's like dying.
Go out naked.
Yeah, she's like dying, and you're like, that's an interesting stakes to this movie. And you're like, at this point, you're like, oh shit, so we don't have unlimited lives. Fuck.
No, she doesn't. And she was able to like finally like get out because she has a plan. But when she finds out like, oh shit, the mask, the killer's mask is in her boy toy, doctor friend, doctor professor friend.
Yeah.
And she's like, ah shit, he's the killer. And then as soon as she gets back to the room, oh shit, it ain't him.
You're like, oh fuck.
But like a bit though, I was like, well, then why does he have the mask? So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But they do explain it later on.
One point she does tell Kurt of a plan of like, I think it is the doctor. But at the same time, the serial killer escapes, I think. And like Carter tries to like rescue the serial killer to the ground, and like the guy just effectively just snaps his neck, and you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't expect that. And then she has a gun. She has a gun. It's like fuck, it's not working. Bye.
Yeah.
Just leave poor Carter on the ground. You're like, wait, if she doesn't reset this day, he's dead forever. And she realizes that. It's like, I can't have that. And then she climbs to the top of the tower while the guy's chasing her, and she's like, well, see you later, asshole, and just hangs herself. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, at this point you're like, yeah, you definitely are falling for Carter, and I don't blame you.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And I do like this scene where she kind of just like does a full 180 of her character from the beginning. She is a little bit nicer. She knows the outcome because she has the plan. She was like, all right, I know how to win this.
Yeah.
Time to mend some shit. Like, the environmentalist girl, she was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll donate to the planet. Yeah. Oh yeah, hey, I'll put a pillow for that guy who faints at the beginning of the movie.
I'll tell him to get himself a nice man. You're like, good on you.
Yeah, and then she has closure with her father, which was like a really good scene.
Yeah, that's the part of like, why am I getting emotion in this movie? Fuck.
Right? I thought it was just a slasher movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bit of emotion in this movie.
Because you find out her mom died the same on her birthday, and you're like, that fucking sucks. Shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, she gets closer to dad, and she also stands up to the one girl who's being bullied by her sorority. She's like, I like chocolate. I know you don't, bitch. You're like, oh, great.
And then she kisses Carter, and then like, boom. And she does the whole plan. She wears her leather jacket. She finally has the killer. And yeah, they tussle, almost lose until she timed the round out.
Yeah. And now it's like, because at the beginning she points the gun and the guy's like, the safety's on, you idiot.
Yeah.
And then
she was like, thanks, safety's off. Thanks for the advice. Bat, bat. And I'm like, alright, cool.
That was the part where I was worried when he had the gun. I was about to shoot her. I was like, I don't think you can heal from that properly. Shit. I think you'll wake up in a coma, honestly.
Yeah. And so
she and Carter's like, what do you wish for today since it's your birthday? She's like, for tomorrow. And he's like, that's a funny thing. She's like, I know, right? And then they go to sleep, and then she wakes up in the same situation. You're like, we have like 10 minutes left. What the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is the ending?
Yeah. And
like, sorry, go on.
The roommate she made amends with, who she was always mean to, like this one, she's like, I'm fucking leaving. I can't stay here forever, because I've tried every way and I've died every way, from being stabbed to being. We forgot to mention the time when the cops stopped her in the car and the killer found her and blew it up. You're like, this killer is pretty good. Fuck.
I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, when she escaped the hospital. Yeah, I forgot about that too.
And she's like, please arrest me. I am begging you. And the cop's like, okay.
It gets run over by a charger. I was like, oh, well, there that goes.
And then Laurie's like, wait, I still have the cupcake for you, and she's like, I've never eaten the cupcake until yesterday, and then I died. Oh fuck, it's you.
Yeah, she's the killer.
And as she's explaining how she can be the killer, it starts to making sense in your head of like, she does have access to the hospital and the serial killer, and she is one of the few people she hasn't put on the list. Fuck, I think you're right. Shit.
Yeah, and yeah, we get the reason. Like, yes, she is the serial killer, or she is the killer, because she's sleeping with a doctor that she likes and
Yeah.
chooses her over the other friend,
Yeah.
and that's why there's the mask in his desk.
Yeah.
And what? She just finds her as a dumb bitch. Her words, not mine.
And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, this roommate is like effective and efficient with everything she does. Even like,
I love Tree's like comment. He's like, don't you think this is a little excessive?
it's like, no, like, okay, fuck.
Yeah.
And you're like, I like how Laurie was like, you know what? I will run over this cop with this charger. Fuck it. You're like, oh, okay. Jesus Christ. And like, it's a pretty good fight at the end. Like, all the fights are
Yeah.
pretty good. But this one has the comedic punch of like, choke on this bitch. And like, she makes her swallow the cupcake. And like, does a Lost World Jurassic Park and just kicks her out the window. Or this time it makes sense of like, yeah, she would crack her head on the pavement from the second floor. Jesus.
Yeah. But I was like at the point of like, wait a minute, how is she gonna prove this to the authorities? But they kind of just like wishy-washy, like, oh yeah, they found out that she is the killer. We believe the case.
Yeah.
I was like, really, no further investigation needed? Okay.
We believe that the cupcake's poison. You're like, at this point, that makes sense, sure.
Alright.
The poor sorority girl who's just hanging by the steps. She's like, what the what the fuck?
Like, girl, she was just like being interviewed, and she was like, "Yeah, she totally had serial killer tendencies." And then the girl who witnessed like the death is like crying in the background. I was like, can't you say I'm having an interview?
And then you get one last scare when she wakes up, and it's repeating the whole thing. You're like, what the fuck? Wait, we have like 2 minutes left. And then Car's just like, haha, I got you. She's like, I hate you.
Not gonna lie, that's not funny. After what she experienced, and then you're just gonna do that. I'm like, oh me. It's just like you were a cool guy until this point.
Yeah. And then this ends, and like I'm not sure what the premise of the second movie is because I know there's a sequel. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll do that one day.
I remember her skydiving and then like not having a parachute. That's all I remember.
I remember that's where we get the meme of her confronting Tim, and she's like, "You are gay." You're like, "Oh, that's where it comes from."
You are gay.
uh,
Okay.
But yeah, this is a pretty surprising movie. Like after expecting nothing, because like back then you're like, "Oh, teen horror movie. What can I really expect?" If you're not Jennifer's Body or anything else creative, what can I really expect? And then you come out of this being like, "Damn, that was a pretty good movie."
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what would you rate Happy Death Day?
I'd rate Happy Death Day. So like a 7.5 out of 10. So it's not really scary, but I love the premise. I had fun. Good character build-ups and everything. Yeah, I would suggest this is like a good party movie, like to watch with friends, have a bit of popcorn.
Yeah.
It's safe enough that it's like, oh, it's not too raunchy that like, oh, I kind of have to keep it PG.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not boring. It's not your typical horror movie. So
Yeah.
I like that. It's a breath of fresh air. So yeah, it's a 7.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. I'll also give this a 7. I think one of the best jobs it does is turning this very unlikable character to a very complete like 180 of like, yeah, I care about this character now. I don't want her to die anymore. Her and Carter are really the characters you really like, aside from like the meme characters of like, you're definitely going to be a meme one day, and I am right.
Yeah.
And like aside from those characters, it's a pretty good story, and as at times it does tug on the heartstrings, and you're like, this is a very unusual move for a movie like this, and I appreciate it. So yeah, both 7 out of 10s. It's a very good movie, and like you said, it's a very good party movie. Like I wouldn't mind putting this on for like Halloween. And yeah, Since you mentioned it, what movies do you put on for Halloween when you're at like a party or by yourself?
Shutter's a pretty good one. One Missed Call was
Oh.
was like a party favorite back in the day. Like I hated the ringtone. Like if somebody would like have the audacity to put it in as their phone ringtone, I'm like you son of a bitch, you're gonna die.
I usually watch it, the 2017 version, over again since it came out, since it's a pretty good movie. That and The Lighthouse, because every time I see The Lighthouse, I'm like, I kind of want more. Kind of wish for a sequel, but it is fine as where it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been a review for Happy That Day. What's your favorite teen horror-esque movie? Whatever it is, comment down below. If you want to see more of us, please like our videos, subscribe to the channel, and ding the bell icon you pointed up for some reason.
Yeah, I did. I was like gonna mention because we also have another teen movie that is somewhat a remake of an older movie,
Yeah.
and it's the Freaky Friday one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for mentioning that.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully we could do that in the future because I always wanted to watch that. Plus, I love Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. Freaky Friday? Don't you mean just Freaky? Isn't Freaky Friday?
Yeah. No, I forgot the name, so I just
Okay.
mentioned the Lindsay Lohan one.
Okay. But yeah, subscribe to the channel if you like our videos. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. We also react to the latest trailers on TikTok. But I am not in any social media, but this gentleman is. And
You can find me at JomGM _ on Instagram, and this is my art account.
yeah, and until the next horror as lineup, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Chat.